What's up, everybody? I'm Katie, and this is For Your Misinformation, a podcast dedicated to making politics more accessible for everyday Americans. My goal is to empower people, especially women, to become more politically engaged so we can act in our own best interests. Let me identify the problem and tell you exactly how we can solve it. On Mondays, I break down topics like voter suppression, impeachment, and white supremacy, look to the experts in that field, and then talk about the ways we can help the most. That might be donating to a charitable organization, voting in a local election, going to a rally, following activists on social media, running for office, or whatever else we can think of. On Wednesdays, I highlight individual politicians, whether I support them, and who you might want to vote for instead. Hi, I'm Katie.
And I'm Morgan.
And today is Thursday. It's Galentine's Day. We're bringing you a special recording. But first, we have some housekeeping. So, Morgan, do you want to tell them the good news? Like, you're a permanent fixture now.
Yeah, so you're going to hear lots of my voice, and I'm really sorry if you don't like it. If I have too much of an Iowa accent, I apologize, because I'm from Iowa, and that's all I know how to do is apologize. Oh, sorry.
I have never noticed your accent, so I wouldn't worry about it. But I got a lot of very positive feedback about the Iowa caucus episode in particular. People say it's more fun to hear us like talking to each other, and I have more fun talking to you. So, yeah, Morgan is here to stay. And the other thing is Morgan has like a full-time job, so... and I also was getting a little bit stressed out about trying to produce 2 episodes a week, so we are going to go down to 1 episode a week. So far, the pattern we have is to record on Thursdays and then release it on Mondays, so we'll probably keep doing that. But, I don't know. That's all the housekeeping. Morgan, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Nope, I think you've covered it.
Okay, cool. So... Morgan and I have talked about this a little bit before, but in honor of Galentine's Day, I think we have some dating advice from us to you, and I think it really relates back to some of today's political figures. I feel like part of the reason that we get along so well is that we see a lot of our like really shitty exes in a lot of like prominent politicians today, and it's really, really frustrating. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it really is. So, single ladies, be aware, and also quiz any potential future dates on their political opinions before, you get too attached.
Okay, that is a really good point, because we used to live in Central Illinois. Neither of us live there anymore, but I was single for a really long time while I lived there, and you were not, but, I don't know. I dated a lot of people while we lived there, and a lot of them would act like not wanting to go on a date because we had different political ideologies, which happened all the time in Central Illinois. They acted like that was weird of me. Like, and it's like, dude, it's not ice cream. Like, it's not like I like vanilla and you like chocolate and I don't want to go on a date with you. It's like major values that I hope this doesn't like cause any fights, but it probably will. But, those are like major ideological differences, and I just like I'm really tired of people acting like it's silly to like rule out partners because you have different political beliefs.
Yeah, well, and look, here's the thing: is maybe a few generations ago, or maybe not even a few, but not that long ago, It worked better to have different political beliefs because political beliefs were a very small part of someone's identity. Mm-hmm. But before that, the country and really the world becomes a place that politics are more divisive. And honestly, a lot of that's because it is suddenly something that we're talking about a lot more and realizing the importance of, yes. And it's coming down to a lot of people's survival. It does get harder. And especially with the current administration, it's not a political difference. My problem is not with somebody who is a conservative, like in more of a in more of a traditional manner. That's not the problem. The problem is a moral difference. Mm-hmm. And morality and politics should not really be as married as they are, but they are. And that matters.
Okay, that's a really good, point to our dating advice. But that, one lesson that I feel like I learned the hard way is that, if your boyfriend's friends are shitty, he's probably shitty too. Which is just to say that, to a certain extent, you are who you surround yourself with. So my Galentine's Day advice to anybody who's listening is, if your boyfriend's friends are shitty, he's probably shitty too. You should probably have a conversation with him about it, or at least just start paying attention. But nobody exemplifies that better than Donald Trump and the people that he surrounds himself with. And we are going to talk about them today. And one of the major ones that is in the news today is Roger Stone. So he was an advisor on the 2016 Trump campaign. There's actually a really good Netflix documentary about him called Get Me Roger Stone. Have you seen it?
I have not. I'm awful at actually sitting down to watch the things that I need to watch.
It's it's infuriating. Although now that you know that he gets in trouble, he's so the reason he's in the news right now is he got accused of a bunch of crimes, and the prosecutors from the Department of Justice recommended 7 to 9 years in jail for him for his crimes that he committed while helping Trump do shit and doing his own corrupt shit. He's just a bad dude, and he's just one of Trump's many friends and accomplices. But if you want to get a sense of who he is, I have this short interview clip.
Those who say I have no soul, those who say I have no principles, are losers. Those are bitter losers. Stone's rule: it is better to be infamous than never be famous at all.
So he's just your typical privileged old white dude. He violated a gag order. He posted an image on Instagram of the judge in his case in crosshairs, which you're not allowed to do. He threatened the judge. He acts like the rules don't apply to him. And he is the worst kind of person. So he is he's I'm reminded of him because he's in the news today, but I have hated him for a really long time. I think I watched that documentary in 2017 and have hated him ever since. So at the end of the documentary, you don't really get any closure because he doesn't get in any trouble. He commits a bunch of stuff that seems like it really should be crimes, which is kind of what Donald Trump is doing right now. And then at the end of the documentary, it's just well, tough, nothing sticks. But now, so the prosecution has recommended 7 to 9 years in jail. And here's where it ends up in the news. Is Trump tweeted about it. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I did hear about that part because, of course, Trump tweeted about it.
Yes. So he tweeted about it and he was that doesn't seem like a fair sentence. I think that you guys should go easy on him. And all 4 of the career Department of Justice prosecutors resigned. Resigned from that case. They were if Trump is going to meddle in this, it is tainted, it is corrupt, I don't want anything to do with it, take my name off of the case. And one of them even resigned from the Department of Justice in general. So that's quitting your job. I don't know, it's a big deal. It's saying that you don't trust it, you don't want your name on this piece of garbage basically that's corrupted by this corrupted president. So that's why Roger Stone is in the news. That's borderline another impeachable offense that Trump committed. It's I don't know if we're going to do anything about it. There are a lot at this point. But that's a new one. And he's probably not going to get in trouble. I don't know. We'll see. But that's just, I don't know. There's your glimpse into who Roger Stone is, who Trump's, just one of Trump's many accomplices are. But do you want to tell him about his buddy Mike Pompeo?
Do I ever? So Mike Pompeo, much like Roger Stone, much like many of Trump's circles, is a huge asshole.
Right.
That's gonna be the word of the freaking episode.
Just a theme.
Asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, I don't know. There's just so much about Mike Pompeo. So even just a few months ago, he was subpoenaed. It was in the end of September for failure to produce documents related to the whole Trump-Ukraine thing. He missed the deadline for that, of course, and then admitted that, yes, he was on the phone call in which Trump asked President Zelensky of Ukraine to investigate Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, here is just one more of the many assholes who thinks that he is a patriot.
Yeah.
He thinks he is some patriot defending America or showing how strong America is. But it's his reckless denial that America can do no wrong, which is gonna get people killed. Honestly, it has. This kind of reckless denial and general assholery has gotten people killed.
Yeah, blind loyalty is never good. It's not a good thing.
Yeah, he doesn't understand that he works for the American people because he's so starry-eyed over Trump.
Yeah.
And he recently made headlines for berating an NPR reporter.
Mm-hmm.
So she was asking questions about Marie Yovanovitch,
right.
Who's the one that was fired for interrupting Trump's pressure on Ukraine to
right.
investigate Joe Biden.
Hero.
Well, the Bidens in general. Yeah, right? We love Marie Yovanovitch here. But anyway, so of course Trump defended him after he gets done berating this reporter, who, by the way, her name is Mary Louise Kelly.
Thank you.
She is my galentine today, Mary Louise
it.
Kelly. You know, find her on social media. Follow her on Twitter. Follow all of the female journalists on Twitter. Anyway, Mary Louise Kelly, she is a journalist. She is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
She was asking good questions to Mike Pompeo. She's not attacking him. She didn't come at him like someone from a tabloid.
Yeah,
That's not what she's in it for.
It's just like she's just doing her job.
Yeah, literally just doing her job. So Pompeo has her brought into like a private room, like his private office or living room or something like that. And he just yells at her and asks her to point to Ukraine on a blank map.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, well, point to Ukraine. Yelled at her to point to Ukraine on a blank map, which of course she did.
Because she's a professional.
A professional. She's good at that. She knows where Ukraine is. I'm pretty sure actually like majored in European studies or something like that in college. So it's just like, wow. Also, what kind of psychopath just keeps around a bunch of blank maps?
I don't know. But also, like, you're telling on yourself. If you're like, I bet you can't find Ukraine. And it's like, sir, you're just telling us that you can't find Ukraine.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. And so then, you know, he's obviously embarrassed, which is why he responded so angrily and just straight up like a child, like literally like a child. Like, that's probably something that when I was 8, if I was fighting with my sister, I would have been like, well, you don't know this either.
Yeah.
And, you know, I would have gotten even more mad and probably hit her if she did, like, know the thing that I claimed she didn't know. I would have gotten real mad because I was an 8-year-old.
Mm-hmm. But you're an adult now.
Secretary
of
State.
There.
Yeah. And also, like, hitting people is never okay. Berating people like that is never okay.
And do you think he would have done that if she was a man?
No, absolutely not.
Right.
He would not have done that if she was a man. And it's just like, it's so frustrating. And, you know, so Pompeo replaced Rex Tillerson as Secretary of State.
Also terrible.
So, yeah, he was also terrible. And it's like, okay, I mean, great, I guess our Secretary of State is less clueless now than the one that was in the position before. Mm-hmm. But if he's more evil, that's not great.
Right.
Not great. We have a whole bunch of people. Oh, my dog.
Which one?
We have Abby. We just have all of these people in Trump's circle, in his little cabal, who have less self-regulation than my dog, who is barking and mad right now because somebody is peeing outside where she likes to pee. And I just snapped my fingers and told her to stop, and she stopped.
Damn.
Mike Pompeo doesn't have that kind of self-control.
No, and my favorite part, well, so most of the other people that we're talking about today are like former advisors or former campaign chairs or whatever. Mike Pompeo is still Secretary of State. He's the current Secretary of State. He still has his job. Like, this is still a guy who's way, way high up in our government. And these are just some of the things that are wrong with him, a lot of things that are wrong with Roger Stone. They had the common theme of having to do with toxic masculinity, and like not being able to control your anger like that is one of those key things in that, like, in society today, we only let men show, the only emotion they really are allowed to show is anger. or at least that's how it's perceived, and that doesn't benefit anybody.
No, like, anger is not a sign of strength, and we need people to learn that. We need to learn that and understand that.
And for now, if they're not gonna, I think we need to elect more women to office because they don't seem to have that problem. Or at least not in the same magnitude. So we will... Exactly. I know we've talked about Emily's list before. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, an emotional woman is a thing. An emotional man is a thing. If I have the choice to go into a room with a woman who's being emotional or a man who's going to be emotional, I know that the woman being emotional is still going to calm down. The man, probably not. Probably going to fume about it. Call me unhinged when he's screaming and red in the face, accusing me of being a member of the unhinged media. I'm like, what? I'm unhinged? Sure.
Yeah, that, I mean, sounds pretty typical. So the other one, we don't need to talk about him very much, but like another one of Trump's BFFs was like Jeffrey Epstein, who just has like that smug face all the time. And then there's Paul Manafort, who was his former campaign chair. He's just like your typical like doesn't respect women guy. He like had an affair, not even original. He also like, along with the theme of like Roger Stone just thinking that rules don't apply to him, like Trump doesn't think rules apply to him. Jeffrey Epstein didn't think rules applied to him, and they didn't. I mean, they're right. Like those guys are so rich that like a lot of rules didn't apply to them. They had enough money to get out of it. But Paul Manafort kept doing crimes after he was already indicted, which is just like, really, dude? So all of these people are in trouble now, except for Mike Pompeo. He just gets to be Secretary of State. If there's any justice, he will like end up being in some kind of trouble.
Yeah.
But so we have talked about this a little bit before, but like what sucks about all of these guys is that like they remind us of our like worst ex-boyfriends. Like they have a lot of qualities of like insecurity and anger and like an inability to be vulnerable or communicate. And I just, like, I see those all over the place in Donald Trump, which is, like, depressing, but true. So we have basically compiled all of, like, the worst traits of our worst exes into one person, and we call him Kevin. And Kevin has a lot of issues with toxic masculinity, which is harmful to everyone. It pretty much means that the only socially acceptable emotion for men to feel is anger. And at this point, my therapist would point out that anger is a secondary emotion, which is caused by something else like shame or fear. And that's why people end up being like that. But it's a vicious cycle because then they use that anger to control people, especially women, by being scary and angry all the time. And it just like goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And I don't know. If you've ever been in a situation like that, you know it's like not a healthy situation to be in.
Yeah, we have all known a Kevin, like this fictional Kevin that we're talking about,
right.
You know, who's an amalgamation of all of our horrible ex-boyfriends. Sorry to all of the perfectly good Kevins out there. Yeah. Well, you know, Karens are dealing with the same thing.
I know.
So Kevin, calm down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not healthy. It's not good. Honestly, this whole like anger is strength is ironic because anger is actually weakness. Because anger, when it is the thing that's in control, like your therapist, who is very smart, says as a secondary emotion, you're letting that be in control, which means that really what is ruling your brain is that fear or that shame. And yeah, anger is a very natural response to fear and shame, but that doesn't mean it should be the only socially acceptable one. It doesn't mean it should be just something that you just unleash with no control.
Exactly. It's something that you should be in control of. And if you're in a room with somebody who's not in control of their emotions, that's not a place you really want to be.
No.
So the way that I think we've talked about it before is that, like, you wouldn't want to date a person who acts like that. You wouldn't want to work for a person who acts like that. So you shouldn't elect people who act like that. Like, they don't represent you. And a lot of these people that we're talking about weren't elected. They were appointed. That's why Donald Trump has, like, amassed such a group of spectacular assholes, is because they're attracted to him. and he's attracted to them. Like, that kind of power, like, is attracted to each other. And they just don't want to relinquish it, so they, like, hold on tight to each other. But there are definitely elected officials who do have, like, issues with toxic masculinity. Like, Doug Collins and Jim Jordan are two that come to mind that, like, had explosions in the House when they were doing impeachment stuff in the House. But I'm sure we'll talk about them in other episodes. Although we focus mostly on Senate races that are close. Although I do really hate Jim Jordan and Doug Collins, so maybe we will talk about them at some point. But yeah, so if you wouldn't want to work for them, you wouldn't want to date that person, you shouldn't want to elect them, and you should tell your friends that they shouldn't want to elect them either. And at this point, I want to be clear that, like, I don't know, I say men are trash a lot. I don't mean all men are trash, obviously. I shouldn't have to say that. Like, we don't hate men. But cause you know who, like, we fucking love Alexander Vindman.
Yeah.
Like, that moment at the debate last week when the whole place stood up and clapped for him, I, like, legit teared up. But he is just, like, a really honorable person. He was fired by Trump last week. Did we talk about it last episode?
I think we might have briefly talked on it, but I don't think we actually, like, went into detail. We just basically, because I think it had, like, happened that day. So okay. I think we were just like, and this happened. What the fuck?
Oh, yeah. Okay. That sounds like exactly how I felt for the last week. But yeah, so, like, it doesn't have to do, like, there are women who don't act in the best interest of women, see Lisa Murkowski, mm-hmm. Susan Collins, whatever. And then there are men who do act in the best interest of women or the best interest of the country or whatever. And you can see the difference between who they are. And, like, Alexander Vindman is clearly one of the good guys. And I don't know. I just want to make it clear, like, while we're talking about toxic masculinity, is that, like, I don't know. I think a lot of men hear that and, like, tense up. And it's like, no, dude, it's bad for you, too.
Yeah, it is. It's bad for everyone. It's bad for men. It's bad for women. It's bad for children. It's bad for society. Mm-hmm. It's bad for the United States of America. Mm-hmm. We should not have these people in important positions.
Yes. And that's why, okay, which is a perfect segue into Emily's list. So what are you going to do this week to help you avoid going insane?
Well, one of the things I'm going to do is, like Mary Louise Kelly, make sure that I follow and support female journalists. We need them. We need female journalists. We need good, honest journalism. It's so important. I know there's a lot of fake news out there. There's a lot of bad journalists on both sides. You know, I get that. But let's follow and support the good ones. That keeps me from going insane. It's important to me to see these voices heard.
Yeah, and those are the people who, like, correctly filter stuff in my mind. Is like, I want to hear from people who, like, have similar life experiences to me, and, like, I want to hear their interpretations of stuff. And, like, it is time after time, like, female journalists whose opinions are the ones that are, I don't know, the ones that most closely align with my own. Okay, so that's a really good one. Let me know if you find any new ones that I should follow also.
Okay.
So I wrote some more letters to superstate voters. So this week, instead of Georgia, I picked Arizona. Speaking of women who don't act in the best interest of other women, that Senate seat is up in 2020. I'm sure another episode we will cover Martha McSally. She is terrible. Right? That's her in Arizona, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
because Gabrielle Giffords' husband is the one that we want to get elected there.
Mark Kelly, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe this will be a preview for next week. So I picked Arizona. I wrote 5 letters today. You can either do through. Okay, so you can go to Swing Left. swingleft.org, and they have lots of different options. You can put in your zip code. It's really good if you're from, like, a deeply blue area like I am, because you can, like, concentrate your efforts elsewhere. So, like, Illinois is absolutely not a swing state, but Arizona and Georgia are. And if I write, 20 letters a week to people in Arizona and Georgia, there's a really high percentage of people who, if they receive, like, it's partially handwritten letter in the mail, they're, like, much more likely to show up and actually vote. And this country works better when more people vote. So That is one of the things that I'm doing to combat some of this like helplessness that I feel every once in a while. There wasn't really any rhyme or reason for why I picked Arizona. And then I am also going to donate $20 to Emily's List, which is an organization that helps elect pro-choice Democratic women to Congress. A lot of the pro-choice Democratic women that were elected to the House, especially in 2018, which is the reason that Trump was at least held slightly accountable through impeachment. A lot of them were elected through the help of Emily's List, so you can donate money to them too, or at least follow them on social media. Is there anything else that you wanted to add, Morgan?
No, I was just going to say that again. Emily's List, find some local candidates, or just donate to Emily's List in general. Mm-hmm. And write those letters. Like you talked about, with the Electoral College, it doesn't really matter that much if you're already in a state that you know is going to go blue. Mm-hmm. We got to try to reach some of those more undecided states.
Right.
Those, purple states or swing states or, whatever they're called.
Yes. And
wherever you live.
If you, are listening to this and these are not the, actions that you think you are best suited for, knocking doors is really, really effective, especially if you live in a swing state. And there are a lot of other actions that they have at Swing Left that you can do. You can go to a house party. You can host a house party. There's lots of different stuff that you can do, and it's all pretty fun. So if these suggestions aren't to your liking, you can head off to Swing Left's page and see if there's anything else that you can do, either locally or to help a super state in 2020. And as always, we will link to these people and organizations on the FYMI Pod Instagram. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to say in terms of actions this week to avoid going insane.
Yep, and I mean, I know I'm sitting here in a real position of privilege, and I just wanted to say that, no matter what your status is in terms of the level of privilege that you have, if you do have hesitation or fear in terms of, doing these things, whether it's writing a letter or going to or hosting a party or a rally or knocking on doors, you can be afraid of those things and then still do them. You can do it afraid. And I know that's really hard, but I can sit here as a white cisgender woman and have things I'm afraid of that are so small compared to
right.
things that a lot of non-binary people and people of color and women around the world face every single day, and men around the world face every single day too. And we gotta do it anyway. They have been doing it afraid forever. They're not the ones that we need to speak to. They're not the ones that are the problem. It's that 50% of other white women
right.
who screw things up. So if you're a little hesitant, do it afraid. Do it afraid. You'll be okay.
You'll feel better. You'll feel good about yourself.
Black people have been doing it for years. So
it's time to step the fuck up.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good note. How about accountability corner? How did you do last week with your hairstyle? Also, I don't know if that counts as self-care, Morgan, the more I really think about it. But
me too. I talked about it with my therapist. She's like, self-care isn't supposed to be something that you do to look different or change your appearance or because you think you need to or a headshot or whatever it is. She's like, that's not self-care. And I'm like, okay, because I was kind of having concerns because I hate doing hair. I hate it. I hate doing anything with my hair. Why would I make that a self-care corner? That's not self-care at all. So, I fail at self-care, obviously.
Okay, but that's okay. That was a minor one. But, I mean, you do a pretty good job of taking care of yourself, anyway, I think.
Yep, so I watched a bunch of YouTube videos of people, curling their hair, this is how you get loose, beachy curls. Mm-hmm. And I realized I hate it. I'm bored and kind of, frustrated just watching these videos. Yeah. I don't want to do that to my hair. So instead I painted my toenail. And I know that's still like a beauty thing, but that one is for me. I love painting my toenails. I love looking down at my purple little toesies in the morning, in the shower, in bed. I just love painted toenails. So that's one that actually did make me happy and that I did not hate doing, but I enjoyed it because I could listen to a podcast while I did it.
Nice. That's a good one. So this morning I did go swimming because I was mostly because I knew we were recording this later and I did not want to tell you that I failed at my job, but I felt much better after I went swimming, and I'm really glad that I went. So if there's like something that you feel like you should be doing but you're not doing because, I don't know, whatever reason, anxiety, who knows, any number of reasons, just too much stuff on your to-do list, like, do the thing that you wanted to do for you. That is my message. So I'm going to like keep my accountability corner to be go swimming again for next week. And then I also want to write more letters to voters. So those are my two things. What's your one for next week?
Okay. So, I have been working really hard to improve my like self-confidence and get over some like body image anxiety that I have.
Sure.
And so, you inspired me by going swimming, and I want to go swim laps too, but I'm not sure I'm quite ready yet to actually go swim the laps. It's still very scary to me about putting on the swimming suit, going into a public place. So I'm just working on body confidence. And I did talk about it with my therapist. And so my little body confidence challenge is to just get used to my weird body in a bathing suit, in a swimming suit for lap swimming. It's just around the house. She also said to go, like, just put it on and go to the locker room at the gym. I'm like, whoa, lady, I'm not quite ready for that yet. So I'm just currently wearing it in the house right now. And, just having to look at myself in this and find at least 3 things that are okay, or 3 things that I like about my own self or my own body. And I know that sounds really dumb, but it's a really big step for me. And so, yeah, I am working on my self-image in like a how I see myself way, not a like how I look way, which was my totally misplaced self-care thing last week, which was, I'm working on my self-image for how my hair looks. I'm like, wait, no, that's not important to me. I actually want to just like.
Yeah. Well, look how much you're growing.
That's my thing. Right? I'm in a swimming suit right now.
Yeah.
In my kitchen.
You're nailing it. Okay. It's progress. That's a good one. We'll check in on that and see how it's going next week. But my goal is to get in the pool, and maybe you can get in the locker room. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I'm going to get in the locker room, or I might go buy myself a new one, and then I'll be in a fitting room. And that's a big step
those.
too.
I do not like.
Yeah, the last time I tried on a bathing suit in a fitting room, I just started crying.
Yeah,
like
that sounds right.
I was like I don't remember what the store was. I was in like an REI or a Shield Sporting Goods, just crying in a fitting room.
Sure.
Like with a green Speedo swimming suit tangled around my hair, and I wanted to die.
That's what being a woman is like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, but we're unlearning this stuff. We're getting better at it. Once you know better, you do better, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Progress is progress.
Exactly. Oh, there. See how nice. Okay, good. I feel a little bit better now that I've talked to you. I had one more thing that I wanted to talk about. I don't think we have a name for this segment, but it might just be like a foster update segment. So,
a kitty corner!
Yeah, okay, we can have a kitty corner. I fostered a mama cat and her 3 kittens, and last Saturday, all 3 kittens got adopted. And the shelter that they got adopted from, so we're keeping the mom. Her name is Hazel, and she's mine forever. And I feel really bad because Clark is allergic, and I'm so sorry. I love you so much. But we lived with a cat for like 10 weeks, and it was okay. Okay, anyway, maybe I'll just talk to Clark about this. But, so we're keeping that mom. But they asked if we could take in another mom and litter, but they didn't tell us that the mom hadn't even had her kittens yet. So we got a mama cat yesterday who is like very, very pregnant, and like maybe by the time we record this next episode, like may have had her kittens, but it should happen. I don't know, it might happen in like the next week or so. But she's so nice. Technically her name is Bootsy, but I can't stand it, so I just call her Boo. But she's like black and white and like a year and a half old. She's like pretty skinny, but she has this like pot belly. She looks like those like pygmy goats, you know, the ones.
Yeah. I love her.
I know, she's great. So she's only been with us for like 2 days, but she already like climbs on my lap and stuff. So I love her.
Oh, how does she get along with Hazel?
So I keep her in like a totally different room. Like right now they're just kind of like interested in each other, but they like have kind of met underneath the door. But so far, I don't know. I think I'm going to keep them separated at least until the kittens are like pretty older.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. So I get to maybe assist with a cat birth. So I'll be sure to like keep you updated in Kitty Corner next week.
Oh, I love it. Kitty Corner is my new life.
Yes. And I'm sure I'll be posting pictures on Instagram.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Oh, kittens.
Yes. So that, I don't know. That was another thing that I decided to do when I like felt kind of like hopeless, is I was like, oh, well, I can at least make the difference in the lives of like some kittens.
Yeah. I love it. Everybody, that's your action for the rest of your life.
Actually, yeah, it wasn't that hard.
Kitten.
As long as you adopt them like with a mom, like the mama cat like takes care of them. They do their thing. So everybody think about fostering a litter of kittens. It's adorable.
Yes. Oh my goodness, that sounds like the best circus.
Yes.
Just kittens.
Okay. Didn't we have a sign off last week?
It was something like "fuck Mitch McConnell."
Oh yeah, but not literally.
Yeah, but not literally. Like, don't have sex with anybody who thinks it's okay to violate human rights in the name of patriotism.
Oh my god. What about stay sexy and stop fucking Republicans?
Yeah. Or is that like a trademark violation?
I don't know. Maybe.
Happy Galentine's Day.
And fuck Mitch McConnell. Bye.
Yes! Bye!
Shout out to Hope Dye for the podcast art, Kyle Dibdahl for the intro and outro music, and Ben Schlofelt for the audio production. I'd like to thank Lauren Duca, Sarah Kensier, Andrea Chalupa, Brene Brown, Lizzo, AOC, Nancy Pelosi, Karen Kilgariff, Georgia Hartstark, Marie Newman, and my mom for their inspiration, and I'd like to thank you for listening.